Welcome to Real American Monsters.
Hello, my friends in Monster Land. Tuesday night, once again, on the Untold Radio Network's Real American Monsters. And we are back in control. We are back in the helm for the next hour or so. And do we have another great guest for you tonight? From Finding Jay 1, 2, and 3 fame. Also, he's been on the Travel Channel, Small Town Monsters, searching at the Kettle Moraine in Wisconsin, where he does all his research. Mr. Jay Bachochin is with us tonight. He's been on the show every documentary, and now he's got number 3 out, and we brought him back for another night. So I'm looking excited to talk to our friend Jay, and I'm very excited. So let's say hello to everybody that's come tuning in. Hello, all. The Squatch father himself, Alfred Santoriga, is with us. Miss Diane Fowler, Patrick Nobel. Good evening, sir. Of course, Blue Eyed Northern's with us. Miss Kenny Hess is with us. Good evening, sir. Francesca, of course, is with us. Hello, Francesca. Your book will be in the mail soon. I keep forgetting to hit it to the post office, but it is his. And tonight, folks, we are going to give away an autographed copy of Finding Jay 3, The Kettle Connection. And he's going to sign it live on air and address it to whoever wins it. So that's a little exciting. BF Bud's with us. Hello, BF Bud. We have a big expedition coming up in Alabama, and everybody that's basically in this chat room is going to be there. Following up, not this weekend, but the next week, the following weekend, it all starts. Mr. Mike Morgan from Texas. Hello, Mike. So everybody's pouring in to see our friend from the Kettle Moraine, and it's going to be a great show. And so that's enough for me. Oh, and we also have a surprise guest about 8:30 who's going to come on and tell you the special thing that he has done and being so kind and releasing something to the public that you can all go and take care and download it yourself. So he'll be around about 8:30. But anyways, let's get on with the show. Let's bring out our guest from the Kettle Moraine, Mr. Jay Bachochin.
Please, no applause, please. How is it going, Chris? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Again, thank you so much for taking time. I know it's Tuesday night and the week has just started, and it's tough for people to, get out of work and sit down and, kind of focus. But I really appreciate it. The people in the chat room appreciate it, and everybody listening really appreciates it. So I just want to say a big thank you before we start on that end of things.
Yes, I do want to make a special shout out. I see that Kim Hoholek is out there in the chat joining. Kim is one of my researchers, very great friend, and I'm glad she's out there tuning in and supporting, and I appreciate it. I also see Big Al's out there, and a few others that I've seen out there. Diane, Patrick, yeah, okay. I'm kind of seeing the chat on the side. I don't really interact with the chat, but I can see it.
Yeah. Well, here on this show, we like to interact with the chat. The chat room's great. They all have their own personalities. You got to meet everybody. They're all friends now. They're all loved and trusted friends, and I love to see them all. We love to see new people. So welcome, Kim, and dive right in there because there's a bunch of great people in there, and you will not be let down by this chat. That's for sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I missed Sherry's in there too. I didn't see her in the chat, but could be under a different name. But I'm glad everybody is here to support. I truly appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Well, so Finding Jay 1, Finding Jay 2, and now you're on Final Jay 3, the Kettle Connection. We talked a little bit beforehand, and the way I see it is like any other, person that's out in the field as much as you are and everybody else that spends a lot of time in the field, things progress. It's a progression. It's not an investigation. It's more like a progression of like how you put it, your own truth. You have to find your own truth, your own path. Before you get started, do you want to tell everybody how you started on your own truth? Give everybody just a little bio about yourself and how you started on your own truth path, please.
All right. Well, it was back in 1967. No, I won't go that far back. But I've always been interested in the weird and the bizarre. Even as a kid, I remember my friends would be out, during summertime playing softball or bike riding, and I'd be in the basement waiting for the next Godzilla or Frankenstein movie to come on. So I was kind of an oddball kid that way. But I've always been interested in the UFOs because my grandfather was in the early chapters of MUFON in Chicago. And I've seen my family. We had a kind of a mass family sighting back in the late 70s as well. So that always put me on my path of just being intrigued. And I believe trying to find my truth back then, because who wouldn't, right? You have a sighting, you see something, you encounter, you're the observer, you want to see it. Pretty much that's how my life's kind of gone along. And it was the mid 2000s. Actually, it was during mine and my wife's honeymoon out on the East Coast. I did see that they were offering, we're actually in Salem, and they were offering ghost tours. And I'm like, oh, that might be something fun to do. Because I always thought, Ghost Hunters, that was the first paranormal show that was a reality show. And I really wanted to believe it, but at the same time, I always thought it's TV, it's for ratings. So I wanted to get out there and, see it for myself firsthand. And that's when I first started truth seeking, would probably be in about 2007, doing paranormal investigating. And, I live in Wisconsin, and I'm just a hop, skip, and a jump, literally, 15-minute drive away from Bray Road, the infamous Beast of Bray Road, that area. So I thought, why not just kind of travel down those areas and just kind of patrol the area. Never big, I wouldn't even mention Bigfoot, right? Because Bigfoot was never on my radar. I believe in UFOs, ghosts, Loch Ness monster, some of these other things that were out there. But at the same time, I always thought Bigfoot was I almost wanted to say a hoax or urban legend, and I never really paid much attention to that. So while doing some legend tripping, I call it, up on Bray Road, we ended up in the Kettle Moraine back in 2013. And that is when I heard my first call of something I couldn't identify out there. There's 4 of us out there. I remember that beautiful October evening, and it kind of made me scratch my head a little bit on that because I could not identify it. We didn't jump to conclusions. We tried to look at all the indigenous animals and birds, whether nocturnal or during the day, in Wisconsin. Couldn't find any match, and there is a lot of soundboard to go by. That was enough to catapult me back to that area over and over and over again. And I've had so many different encounters since then, but that's where I wanted to find out what that truth was. And that all starts in my first documentary, Finding Jay. And there's just so much to tell. That's why I came out with a part 2. I wasn't expecting this to be like, Rocky 5 or Rocky 6 or anything like that, to keep pushing it that way. But there is so much to tell because there's so much going on. And that's pretty much where I'm at today.
So you're a family man. You got a beautiful family, and you work a full-time job. Making documentaries takes up the little bit of the rest of the time that you have. I mean, it takes more time because you're working into the night. You're working. Did you enjoy making the documentaries? Was that something you enjoyed doing? Was it, or did it become at one point? Did it come like I don't know, a load bearer on your trying to finish things, or did you just enjoy the whole process?
I've always enjoyed the process of doing editing, but it's also therapeutic going through some of the footage that you really didn't look at one point. There's a lot of times when people go out, whether it was ghost hunting, if something happened at that point, people would love to go back and review that point. But it's all that missing time that you're recording that you really don't pay much attention to because nothing really happened. So when I'm making my films, I'm a storyteller. That's it's kind of my gift. Sometimes people need to shut me up a little bit, and so when I'm doing this, I really do enjoy it. And like any author or anybody in film, when you start putting it out there, now you're starting to put deadlines. Then the deadlines kind of get to you because after you're working on this film here, the Kettle Connection Finding J3 it's been a year and a half in the making, and that's either with interviews or going back. It's not so much that I'm going out there with cameras are rolling and I'm going to film everything I'm doing. I've got body cam footage, I've got audio, I take a testimonial, or I just get lucky with capturing things that wasn't even trying for. So definitely doing these it's been rewarding to me. And when it's done, you kind of made that comment, it's like I looked a little tired. Well, I'm still, got a little bit of after creating and releasing hangover a little bit because I've been putting so much into it that now I don't know what to do with myself.
All right. All right. So speaking of feeling it and feeling what he does, and he does a great job of the editing. He does, and we're going to play the trailer right now for the new the Kettle Connection Finding J3. We're going to play it live for you guys all right now. So strap in, and here we go.
I set out looking for Bigfoot. Chasing footprints, wood knocks, and shadows in the trees. But somewhere along the path, the search began to change me. I stopped looking for something and started listening. The woods began to speak, not in words, but in moments, in signs, in silence. I came here searching for a legend, but instead found a living world full of wonder and wisdom. This isn't just about Bigfoot anymore. It's about the connection to the forest, to the past, and to something greater than ourselves.
Wow. Now you can feel that. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think most of the people that are in the chat room know what you're talking about because we have a very, very in balance, in touch with nature chat room, and I could feel that, Jay, and I could feel it, and I haven't had the pleasure. I haven't seen the pleasure. I was looking; it wasn't not on an Amazon yet, so I have to get myself a copy to watch the new one. I've watched the other ones before you came on, and I have to say I didn't get a chance to watch this one, but I am looking so forward to it.
Oh, good. I think you'll definitely be happy with that. Um, I like to say I hope people are, because this was one of the hardest out of the three films that I put out. One of the hardest films I put out because of that. I've kind of evolved into the person I would have made fun of 5 years ago, and to me, that's hard. It's hard, but it's finding my truth. It's not going out and trying to prove to people what I'm experiencing out there. I'm going to share with you what I have. I don't want to say even captured. I'm going to go out there and share with you what I've experienced, even at stuff that hasn't been caught on film. And I think that's going to be the main point of this film for sure.
What would you tell yourself 5 years ago from today? What would you tell yourself 5 years ago if you were just starting off and you've experienced everything you went, and this guy comes up to you, this young Jay Bachochin, and he comes up to you and say, "Hey, man, you've been out in the Kettle Moraine for 5 years. I got myself a camera. I'm going to go get a picture of Bigfoot, and I'm going to be world famous. And how hard is it to catch a monkey in a tree?"
Right, exactly.
What would you
And
tell that person?
yeah, that was kind of my perception a little bit, because we're all influenced by what we see, whether it's on TV, YouTube, um, the different speakers that are out there that know it all. And I'm not putting anybody down about it, because they're very much convicted in what their truth is. So I respect that. So 5 years ago, definitely I would have been something like, you know what? No, I mean, this is it's not a ghost. It's not an alien. It's a flesh and blood primate we haven't caught up with yet. And so this guy here, who's now, talking to trees, or just being kind of one with the woods, I would have thought, all right, next thing you know, he's going to be, picking up a flute and dancing around a tree or something. And I don't want to say I danced around the tree. I have danced out there, though. I think Kim and Sherry can contest for that. But I definitely would have looked at the younger me would have looked at that saying, you know what, this guy's a little bit, he's kind of out there. And now I look at it now, and if I was talking to a younger one as well, I would have said, just wait, it's coming. The evolution will happen. You will evolve, and you will find what your truth that you're seeking for, and only you're gonna find that. That's what I would say.
The path, less taken is obviously what we're taking. It's not looked upon. Why do you think it is that the people that get stuck in that same old routine, and then it's nothing against them, they can do whatever they want. Again, this is our journey. This is a personal journey. You can do whatever way. But why do you think that once we take the path less traveled, it seems that progression happens in a quicker fashion? You experience more of the, people call it weird, but it's not really weird. It's been part of nature for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and we've lost touch with it. Why do you think what's the difference between that, with staying just to the flesh and blood world, and just, and they're not experiencing any of this. They say they don't experience any of it, which I don't personally believe it. But why do you think that is? Why do you think that if you take this journey and you start getting yourself in touch with what's going on in the forest, why do things seem to progress a little bit quicker, and you're experiencing, the things that we are?
The only way I could really answer that is I believe everybody's at a different spiritual place in their life. And I'm one of those that doesn't is not not ashamed or keep it quiet that I'm a Jesus follower. My heart and soul belong to the Lord, Jesus Christ, and that's me. And that would be me also reading his word. Now, with that is a spiritual growth that I have internally, that I'm also learning all the time about that all things are possible, great or small. Everything that has been created. This is my truth. This is my faith. And with that, that helps me to evolve with that. In the past, I would say Bigfoot was flesh and blood primate. Today, I would say it's flesh and blood, but more on a supernatural level than something that we understand. Because I always say, Jesus was supernatural. All right. This is really what I believe. So if I think all things are possible with Christ, I'm also going to look at this and say all things are possible in our reality that we don't understand. So I think a lot of people may not be at that level in their spirituality. They may not have it at all, but some are going to be more to where they're a little bit more open to the different possibilities. So I guess that's kind of where I just keep evolving. I mean, talk to me in 5 years and we'll see where we're at here. It's it's been that amazing spiritual growth and learning more of the ways of the Native Americans through Kim. It has been such an eye opener in so much where I'm more involved in the nature part of it, of being out there. I mean, before it was strictly, we're going to go out and look for Bigfoot. Now I can't even tell you what the living woods is anymore. I don't know if it's one entity and Bigfoot is just a part of this whole piece that's out there. And that's what I'm trying to do. I am not trying to go out and film the holy grail of a Bigfoot. I am out there just to keep growing within myself, within my own spirituality, learning the Native American ways, and just keep growing with that.
Yeah, I loved how you said you listen now. And a lot of people don't take the time to just go out in the forest and sit. More things happen when you just go out there and sit. Let the forest come to you. Let these guys come to you. And I'll share a little bit, just really quickly. We're filming a documentary here, and this is our first go at it. And we're just sitting out in the forest the other night. Just nice and quiet and calm and cool. And we had a knock, probably 30 feet in back of us, and we captured like once in a lifetime unreal vocals, been up, but we didn't go out and we weren't knocking on trees and we weren't forcing the issue. We just let things happen and we were listening. So that's how I relate to what you're saying. If a lot of people can do that, to sit back and just listen while they're in the forest, I think they'll go a little bit. I mean, and that's just my own opinion. And either you can try it or you don't want to try it, but I think it works.
Yeah, no, 100%. I 100% agree with you on it, because I felt that the more hiking we were doing, the less opportunities we were having to do this. I mean, again, the Finding Jay came out. I wasn't trying to be narcissistic, saying, "Hey, it's my film. I'm going to call it Finding Jay." It was a play off finding Bigfoot, but from a Bigfoot's perspective, it could be finding Bigfoot's going to find me, find Jay, it's going to find Chris. And that's when I felt that it was time to just exactly sit and observe. The whole journey isn't about just capturing or experiencing. It is going out. The journey is even just driving up there. Different people I'll go out with, just to get out there with friends and to just be able to be in nature and just sit there and observe and let it come to you. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You really don't know what it is. But I agree. I think when you go in with the non-aggressive, cameras ablazing, this is what you're going to do, except more talking to the woods. I mean, literally, I will talk to the woods. Every once in a while, I'll hear the raccoons and possums laugh at me and snicker and go behind a tree. But most of the times I am trying to be open to that and say, hey, we're here, right here. And for as long as we're going to be here, feel free to come up. And I know when we're really quiet, every once in a while, there's been a time where I caught a buck go by just in the pitch dark and snort, where you didn't really even hear the buck come in. And you might bring in different natural animals for that, but at the same time, we get a lot of I want to say odd things that don't sound like you can hear them walking up to you, but then they're right there. And it's we don't really have a lot of vocals per se in the kettle. I have captured a couple, but I also believe that there's a lot of inhabited places around there, so I imagine that they're a little bit more, maybe not as vocal, depending on the area. Don't know. This is just my thoughts on that, but it's exactly what you were saying. Let them come to you. Don't miss that opportunity.
Right. All right. Well, we're going to dive deep into the kettle, to Finding J3, the Kettle Connection, but we got a friend in the audience. He's going to come in real quick. He's got something to share with everybody. He's got a special gift that he wants to give everybody. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. MK Davis is with us.
Well, hello.
Hello, MK. How are you? MK, Jay,
How you doing, MK? How are you, sir?
Hi. How are you, Jay?
Good. Doing good. How are you doing tonight?
Well, I'm okay. I've got something a little special going on. I've been giving this away, and I think it's kind of important. This is the only frame from the Patterson film that is in the public domain. And I got this copy directly from Miss Patterson herself. Went and had it scanned there in Yakima, Washington. And I think that, it would be beneficial for it to have a wider distribution. And this frame, I would like for it to become the standard for what that represents the film. Even though the film has lots of copies that are inferior, this came off the original. And if a person wants to know exactly how the originally looked, he can use this frame as a kind of a measure for that. Let me just let's see if it'll do it. All right, there's the link, and I put it in the chat, studio chat, and anybody can just click on that link, go there and download. It's about a 50 meg.
You can't put it in the studio chat because that's just for us. You got to put it in the regular chat room.
Oh, I thought that was
no.
Yeah, okay.
The regular chat.
All right. Well,
okay, it's strange not seeing you in the man cave.
Yeah, it's strange not being in a man cave. I'm quite a ways away from there.
Yeah.
Let me see. How do I get to?
It should be right down at the comments. It says post a comment.
Okay, I got to get out of the studio. And I see y'all two in the studio, but I don't see any other.
Yeah, no, well, maybe you have to go into general population. So maybe you have to get out of here and then just join the show and then put it in it, do it that way.
That may be possible. Okay.
And if not, just send it to me after the show and I'll post it for everybody to get. But you could also, MK just put a video on his channel. And you can go, and he left it in the comment section on his channel, explains everywhere where it came from and how you guys can get it. And it's an amazing, amazing copy. You can actually see Patty's teeth if you actually have you can zoom in and actually see her teeth. It's not like the Renee version. There's two versions. Before you go, you just want to tell everybody about the two versions, and then we'll get back to Jay.
Yeah, there's one frame 352 that's not copyrighted. It's in the public domain. That's this one. And then there's another one that's not in the public domain. Is what they did were they weren't making any money off of this. This is the most famous frame from the film, and they weren't making any money because it was in the public domain. And so what they did was to take it and altered it, and then had the altered version copyrighted, but it no longer represented the film. So there's 2 frame 352s out there. The one that's copyrighted has they drew in fingers. It had a closed fist like this on the right hand. They drew in fingers extended like that, and then they airbrushed the face and the mouth. So that one right there is copyrighted, but it's scientifically worthless. The one that I'm putting up here is directly off of 4x5 transparency that I got from Miss Patterson. She drove down there to a photo house with me, and she drops me off. She says, "I'll be back to pick you up." And she goes to do errands. And I really appreciated her confidence in me. And I had those transparencies put in new sleeves, new plastic sleeves, which I have the old sleeves. Some of them were torn and split and had turn color. But what they did have was a little bit of writing from Roger Patterson, so it was worth that. I didn't want to throw them away. So this frame right here is the film itself, in my opinion, was mishandled, and it's easy to have that happen. They didn't take care of the chain of possession. In other words, but when they came out with it, they made copies and gave this copy to this person, that one to that one to that one, and it just they lost track of who had what. By going back to Miss Patterson and getting this right off the 4x5 transparency, you go right back to the original, the camera that was in the camera. I mean, the film that was in the camera running at that time. So that's a good place to start. It's there's not anything wrong with anybody owning this, and it's a great standard for reference as far as what that original film was about, what it looked like. All right.
All right. Well, thank you, MK. I'm sure everybody's going to appreciate a copy of that for sure. And it is, the quality is clear as a bell. I mean, you guys you're never going to see it like this until today. So,
yeah, it's about a 50 meg. It may be 51 megs.
All right, my friend. Well, thank you for sharing.
Looking forward to seeing it. Yes.
And we'll get you on. If you don't get it in the comment section, just let me know, and then I'll post it after the show.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, MJ.
All right.
Good night.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
Bye. All right. Well, that's some pretty good news right there in my book.
Absolutely.
It's unbelievable copy. If you go after and you can actually, if you zoom in, you're a film guy, you can see her teeth. Like literally see her teeth. It's
yeah, I'm definitely gonna take a look for it after the show for sure.
Yeah. So let's go. So you finding J1, rock throws, you're in the forest, you're experiencing, the weird, rock throws are weird when you first start. The second one comes around, now things start to get a little strange. You're catching people with lanterns out in the forest, and now you come to the Kettle Connection. What is the difference between each one, other than what I just said? How did it progress, and what to look for in finding J3?
Yeah, well, people that have seen the 3 of my films pretty much said the same thing. It's kind of like part 1 kind of leads you up to the door, and part 2 shoves you through the door, And part 3 is where you are on the other side and you understand why you were just shoved through the door. The best way to put that is only because those are my experiences. It's what I've gone through. It's the only way I can convey to people when I talk to them about it. Sometimes I can step outside myself thinking, this guy's crazy, but it's really happening out there. So it's like the part 2 was kind of trying to put the lights and Bigfoot as a possible connection out there. But again, I'm missing the bigger point, which was the whole living woods, instead of just focusing just on, a Bigfoot or a UFO type of light or something like that out there in part 2. So part 3 is kind of the grander, okay, now I can see what I'm in. Now I'm trying to understand that. So it's kind of just basically going from trying to understand what Bigfoot was, trying to understand what these lights were, aliens, ghosts, whatever. And three of just being able to open up, as the elder Skip that I spoke to 2 years ago. Rest in peace, Skip, on that, because he did pass on after that. But he told me that I was just trying to get some answers from a Native American perspective here, definitely in Wisconsin, for that reason. And I just remember him telling me that I was in my sunrise. I didn't know what that meant. And it was basically just becoming more aware and with more knowledge of what I'm actually doing. Again, they kind of speak in riddles a little bit because I wanted some answers. And you'll see in the film about finding these feathers. And when I asked him about that, he said, that's something for you to figure out. I'm like, wait. No. I need answers now. But now I understand what he meant. And it has just grown since then. So definitely the third film is going to be, and like I said, it was kind of a hard film for me to put out because I'm not just putting out, captured evidence or interviews with some people or testimonials. I'm kind of putting myself out there now. I'm saying this is who Jay is now, today. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow or in 5 years from now. But, being in this, being in nature and putting this film together is I feel like it was one of my greater achievements out of the 3 films. Because, as a filmmaker too, you always, set a bar a little bit higher. But with this one, the way the story came together was for a purpose. And I'm hoping that when people do watch this, that they do understand that they need to find their truth. Don't listen to Jay. Seriously. No, I'm telling you, don't listen to my documentary. No, you could take that for what it is. Just don't buy that. Go out and become the observer, somebody who's going to be an experiencer, and that'll set you on your path of seeking knowledge. And again, you can apply that not just in the woods, in everyday life, in everything that you do. I always say, truth matters. Question everything. There are approximately 8 billion people in the world, and everyone has their own individual truth. Is there really one truth anymore, except for the masses of what they believe? So if there's no truth, go out and find your truth and go discover for yourself. And that's what I try to encourage people to do. And hopefully my film will help them do that.
I have to agree with you. It's the best way to progress in this. My wife always tells me, Maria, she goes, whatever happened to my Harley guy? Where's the boots? Where's the leather jacket? Where's the bikes? And my journey has left that far behind now. It's been 10 years since I've started this journey, and I play with the feathers now, and I'm getting Shiva stones, and I'm experimenting with frequencies, and we're just listening in the forest, and I feel like I'm on the same ride that you're on, and
No,
that's
and that's good. And you're always hoping that everybody can be that way. Like I said, I'm not the glue holding everything like this is. You're on that path. Everybody's on their different path. Even those that can't grow with it and are kind of staying with what they know and what they feel safe in. And that's the big thing, is that word, because if you're in this community, you could say it is just a biological primate we haven't caught up with for these reasons, for these scientific reasons. But science is not the end of all ends of truth. And that's just the way I look at that. You need it, don't get me wrong, but I do believe using science, using learning different way the cultures were in the past, and of course having faith in Christ, for me, that's a trifecta that's going to help me try to learn my truth and try to understand that. And I'm in no rush to do it, and I don't think it's going to happen overnight. And I could be on my deathbed before I just go aha, and then and then move on to the next realm. But this is just the journey that that I've been called to do.
Right. Did your paranormal background help prepare you to what's going on now? Does that help in any way, to you having that background?
Well, I'd like to say yes and no, because the Bible does speak of ghosts, obviously, or spirits, but at the same time, the Holy Word also speaks about demons and deception. And there are a lot of things that I believe that when I was in the paranormal range of it, was more deceived of what I was trying to talk to. Was that really, old man Farmer O'Malley who died in this barn? And when you ask a question and you get an EVP and it's, is this old man O'Malley? And it's, yes, it is. Well, do you really know? Are you being deceived? And that, doing the paranormal has always been, okay, well, if there are ghosts around here, that means they're not in heaven. That means they're hanging around here, meaning heaven and God may not be real. So, I'm going to be Patrick Swayze after I die and just kind of hang around. I think that's a deception that pulls people away from God. And that's what I believe. So getting into the paranormal, like you were saying, of studying it and then going out into the woods, honestly, it's kind of apples and oranges. It's not the same. So people could say it's the same, but I don't feel it's the same as how I approached it back in my paranormal days. So, doing that by trying to capture EVPs, trying to be that, I don't want to say expert, but that experiencer, and to be able to say that this and this, but even that field doesn't have all the answers. Because you know what? Honestly, if we had all the answers to the paranormal, it would just be called normal, because it would not be abnormal. Same thing within the woods. So it's basically whatever is out there, I think is bigger and greater than us. But I think now it's the approach. So doing the paranormal stuff in the past, of how I did it, is apples and oranges completely from what I do today.
Right. So you mentioned the lights before, and everybody the little orbs, and everybody's got different thing. Do you think that it's its own phenomenon? Do you think the orbs are connected to the whole Bigfoot thing, or do you think that they're the orb and the energy is their own phenomena?
Yeah, the reason why in part 2 that I was trying to put together the lights and Bigfoot being connected, and it was basically because I caught something physical peeking behind a tree on thermal, and I watched it there for a good 25 seconds of this huge tree, of this, I can only assume, either a huge hand or a huge head, because we did the CSI investigation, and the distance, it would have been huge. If it was a raccoon, it was a raccoon on steroids, and it was 500 pounds and moving super quick, which I guess that wouldn't be out of the norm either. But at the same time, when I was capturing the thermal, is when I saw it go behind the tree, wasn't there for a second, and I took my eye off my flare, And sure enough, an orb came right from that location and just glided right in front of us. And before, right as it went out of sight, we heard just like these breaking through trees. So I was putting everything together. I'm like, physical, orb, and then physical again. So did the Bigfoot become an orb, evade us, and then just become, flesh and blood again and just keep moving? But like today though, when I really look at that, I'm like, well, Bigfoot could is just a part of the living woods, and the lights are its own thing of the living woods. And that maybe, and again, this is just coming out of, left field, and who knows, but that's what I feel like when I'm out there. Sometimes when I'm looking at the standing pines and they're just, all over. And when I'm looking up like that, I feel like I'm almost like a flea on a dog, and all those standing pines are the hair follicles. And then that made me think, well, if that was true, then, maybe the living woods is more of a what are we on type of thing. I think of the land that it's on, that we're standing on. Now we're on the back of the living woods. And Bigfoot is just a white blood cell out there, because the Native Americans believe that some tribes would believe that, Bigfoot was a spirit of the woods and a protector. And I always thought of protector of what in the woods, of the trees, of, the rabbits, the fox, the deer. Was it protecting that way, or was it protecting the living woods itself for whatever reason? Again, I don't have those answers, but that's kind of where I go when it comes to what I believe that the lights are, because they're not just all a white orb. I mean, we've just of recent, you see these red type orbs moving through, or red LED lights that move uncharacteristically. Let's just say they could be like a laser light, but not hitting surface right in front of you, that just kind of make a squiggle, that it seems like they're almost about to hit you, or they're just out there. And so it's hard to say, okay, that thing that was just squiggling by me, is that a Bigfoot? I don't know. But that's the part of the journey that I'm trying to make the connection and the communication with.
All right. I have a little confusion with the rock throws now, because I'm just starting to explore into the paranormal side of things here now. And you obviously had that in you started. It was like I'm starting opposite what you did. I went from Bigfoot to paranormal to Bigfoot, and you went from paranormal to Bigfoot to finding yourself in the forest. And it's like,
Yeah,
but
it's
the rock
a great
throws.
journey, huh?
Now I know that spirits can throw stones. They're perfectly capable of throwing stones. So if you're in the forest and you're experiencing stone throws and you're not seeing what's doing it, how could you 100% in any way say that it is Bigfoot that's throwing stones at you if you don't see
And the thing is, and I agree with you, because you didn't see what threw the rocks at you. You can't prove that it was a ghost, a Bigfoot, or an alien. All right, we can believe what we hear, right, from other people, or other encounters of Bigfoot throwing pebbles. Well, did they really see those Bigfoots throwing the pebbles? You didn't. I didn't. And I've had them thrown right at me, and I've heard them come through a good 30 yards, being whipped through the trees. And there is no way, not even with a slingshot, would you be able to, through that terrain, make it land by my feet every time. It's like these stones are controlled. They're the only way I can really say it. I mean, in my first film, he was 10 at the time, Blake. He was saying, yeah, but no matter what, Dad, how about that accuracy? If we tried to hit something, we're going to hit brush, we're going to hit branches, we're going to hit something. How can these rocks or objects, not even rocks all the time, because we've had pine cones, different things just kind of just be there. So I agree with you, is that we can't put everything on just one cryptid. It very well could be, but I don't know that. But I agree with you. How do you control that? We've never seen it.
Right, right. Yeah, we had pine cones thrown at us about Snow Grove, and while having our coffee, three of us. It was a perfect. I wish someone was filming us. We're all sitting on the back deck at Snow Grove Lake up in Canada, and we all got our coffees. And there's pine cones coming over the outhouse, and they're being thrown at us, and we're just sitting there sipping our coffee, watching. It was the funniest thing. But of course, we didn't see what did it. Um, we had a bunch of experiences, so that's the biggest part that I'm having trouble with these days is not seeing it. Because when we had those vocals the other night in the wood knock, we had flares. We were just sitting in the dark first, just letting things happen, just sitting there, and it happened. And we put our flares up and looking all around us, all 360s, and we see nothing.
Right.
And we put the flares down, and then then we had a rock thrown at us and comes in. And then we picked the flares up again.
Yeah. And honestly, that's why I've kind of tried just putting down, the IR binoculars or the thermal flares, because I don't think we can see them in that spectrum, in my opinion. I think they could be right there. And we're looking for us. We're looking for primate. We're looking for a heat signature that,
Right.
you can catch a nocturnal flying squirrel or a deer or a fox or a coyote out there, but you can't seem to catch anything else except for that one in part 2 where it looked like it was supernaturally moving from one side of the tree to another, like squirrels playing, but it was huge. But at the same time, it's what are we looking for? And maybe that's why we can't see in infrared or we can't see in thermal, and why even during the day they could be standing right there and you can't see them. And when we can't see something and something happens, we immediately go to more of the spiritual side of ghosts. But again, I don't know. So sometimes I get on a roll of, just like I'm sure you would, where you just get on a roll and you just kind of try to keep thinking outside the box. But that's what I'm doing. So I don't get discouraged one way or another. If I found out that Bigfoot was Casper the Friendly Ghost, it wouldn't disappoint me that it wasn't Harry and the Hendersons.
Right.
So, or at the same time, you finally see a Bigfoot, takes his mask off, and it's Elvis Presley. We don't know, and that's the wonderful journey about this.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards a vibrational frequency thing between two worlds, and I think at certain moments in time when the vibrations or the frequencies line up, we're able to see each other's worlds. And then we're all energy. We know that everybody's energy. That's all we are. We're energy. Period.
Everything is energy, and that's the beautiful part. That Ron Moorhead, The Quantum Bigfoot, is my favorite Bigfoot book out there. Because it is, he kind of delves into a little spirituality on it, but it's the quantum, the science side of just saying everything is a vibration. And when we're out there and our eyes are just trying to scan the woods to look for a physical bear type Bigfoot, we're not going to see that. It is on that different frequency level, something that I don't think anybody's mastered yet. That's the thing, is I hear about frequency all the time, but I still don't think it's 100% mastered into that yet. Who knows? Maybe it is. And I've just been living under a rock. I don't know.
I'll share some stuff with you after. Well, most people know we found a frequency. It's 40 hertz, and it's been all across America. Recordings have come back. It's the frequency of a hummingbird wing. And I told you previously about the hummingbird before the show, but people have got it recorded across America. It sounds like one of those, like the bull roars, the Australians use. Woo, woo. Lots of people have picked it up. People have picked it up. So a Bigfoot, a recording of it humming, eating peanut butter, 40 hertz hum. So we've been started using the 40 hertz and call blasting it and stuff like that, just to see what kind of reaction. And it's actually given us some reaction. Up at Snow Grove, red orbs, white orbs. We call blasted it over the lake that night. We had an orb show at the lake around the house that was unreal. So that's why I'm headed towards that direction. That's what we're
exactly
focusing on. I mean, but again, that's an IMO. Can't tell you for sure, but
right. But the thing is, and that's exactly it. You're speaking very passionately about your truth and what you believe. And it's the same thing how I am when I'm speaking about what mine is. And there's no difference, because I was saying about everybody out there is going to have their own truth, their own opinion on whatever that is. And one day I believe that we're going to find that by just keep pursuing and being open that way.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So right now we're going to give away this DVD, and then we're going to have Jay talk a little bit about the Kettle Connection. So to win this, Jay had a really good friend from Wisconsin, and she passed away a little while back. A very sweet lady involved with the Bray Road and all that. You don't do it yet. Once I sound the horn, the first person to say her name in the comments and types it wins the copy. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3. And they're off. Who gets it right first? I don't know. I might have stumped them, Jay. Yep, there she is. Dookie Pickles wins. Linda Godfrey. You got it right, Dookie Pickles.
That's right.
Patrick, you got close. You were right there after. But so
Okay.
Dookie Pickles, I don't know if you want your name. Do you want Dookie Pickles on the copy, or do you got a first name, or
yeah, that's.
Or you can just tell me after. He can sign it on air if you want.
Yeah, I could either sign it on. Oops, I'm on blur.
There you go.
So I could either sign it on air, or you could just let us know later. But
yeah,
I'd love to sign it for you.
All right, congratulations to Dookie Pickles. All right, so to Aaron. Right there, Aaron.
To Aaron. Yep. Okay. Sorry, I can't have the camera down here, but I am going to sign it right now.
And then if after the show, you could get a hold of me at realamericanmonsters@gmail.com and send me your address, and we'll get that out to you. Congratulations. And it wasn't a contest. This was a giveaway. Oh, well, there's his address right there. Aaron Hamill. All right. Farmington Hills, Michigan. All right.
All right.
Perfect.
To Aaron, find your truth. Okay, there we go. Signed. I do it in 2 colors.
Congratulations, Dookie Pickles. All right, my friend. Well, we're at the hour mark already, so let's get into a little bit about the Kettle Connection and tell what people to look for and what was the main focus on that, and then we'll take some questions and we'll let you get on with your night.
You got it. So the butler didn't do it.
You are quick though. This was pretty good. You're a funny guy. I like that.
So basically, this is going to be my journey of, I've been doing this since 2013. Really, time doesn't make a truth seeker a truth seeker. You started this tomorrow, you become a truth seeker. It doesn't matter if you're on day 1 or if you're on day or year 14 or 20 years. There's so many people have been doing this forever. We still don't have that answer. So basically, this film should helpfully open up a little bit more eyes on what we were just talking about tonight. And it basically is. It is about getting out into the woods. It is about opening up yourself a little bit more of just what people think a Bigfoot would be. Everything in this film is 100% fact-based. I don't add any fluff to it. I do enjoy making films, and I love movies. So, I like to add a certain soundtrack to it just to give you what is out there. But it's not full of fluff. This is not anything that you would see on TV. I wrote this. Me and my wife produced it, and I edit I've done everything to this. There's been no other control but me on this film. So you take me for what I am. I could be the best used car salesman this side of Wisconsin. I don't feel I am. I try to be as honest as I can. I really think people will have a big eye-opening experience once you see it. So I'm hoping that you will see it. Right now, it is only available on Blu-ray at this time. Hopefully something down the line happens, but I really don't know when. And a lot of these streaming services, they always change your rules after a couple of years. So it makes getting on some of these really tough. It's not as easy as being on Tubi or something like that. And you're like, wow, how come everybody doesn't just throw it up there? There's different reasons for different platforms. So I'm really hoping that you will enjoy. Oh, it's blurry. There we go. Anyway, got a blur effect on there. Anyway, the Kettle Connection. And you can find me at jaybachochin.com. Got everything up there that you need to see. Get a hold of me up there if you need to. And this has been great.
Without giving away too much of it, can you share one of the experiences that went on in the new film?
Well, in the new film, there were a lot of, some of them you would have to almost see to believe. One of these, and honestly, I'm gonna tell you, I like to look at the whole film as a whole, not just giving away one section or not. But there is something that we captured on our body cam. Didn't even notice that we caught it until after the fact. In fact, I wasn't even looking at this spot during the time. We do leapfrogs out there. There was 4 of us. It was David and Michelle Diener, and then Sherry Lampy, and then myself. And we kind of spread apart every, 100 yards, 150 yards. So you're isolated by yourself safely-ish. We could all run to each other if we needed to. But in this case, something that you'll see in this film is just going to blow your mind, because once you see this, you can't unsee it. And it's something that was, while we all caught up with David telling us what he heard, because that's what I like to do. I like to record people. If they have anything to say, I'm popping my phone out. We're going to just get your first reaction. But after something that was peeking out at us, that was captured after we didn't see it at all, and you see it after, and once you try to wrap your mind around this, there's no answers for it. And it is one of the coolest captures that I've ever had. It's even made Ken Gerhard scratch his head, and some of the bigger guys, up there, when I showed them this, they're just like, man, they can't get it out of their head of what exactly that was. So I thought that was pretty cool. But anyway, that's in the film for sure.
Well, you cannot, you see it, you cannot deny it. I mean, it's not like you're out there, you're making it up. I mean, you got better things to do than, like I said, you're a family man, and to be out in the woods and do all this, and it takes the hours, the 2 hours or the 3 hours that you got left in the day out of 24 hours to get out there and do this kind of stuff. And,
yeah, it's rough, but you know what I mean? I guess it beats spending a lot of money going to play golf, or, hitting the bars late at night, and spending all your money doing all that stuff. I'm trying to make a difference within my own life. I'm not even sitting there trying to peddle what this is and just say, buy my film. It is, I believe this is something that will open a lot of people's eyes in a lot of different ways. And like you said, whether you see it, you can unsee it, you're still going to have people that are deniers and live in their protective safety bubble of things that can't be real. And that's okay. You know what? One step at a time. Hopefully the people that are listening here will find their truth in whatever they're seeking.
Yeah, well, I agree with you 100%. So we're going to open up the questions for Jay. All in cap letters, please, if you got a question for him. Again, I want to say thank you for taking the time tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. Hopefully I didn't seem that tired, did I?
No, you were good. You were
good.
The coffee kicked in good for you. I just feel bad because it's early in the week. I know. I went to work today. I'm feeling it. I'm ready for bed myself. You know what I mean? I'm old,
Yeah.
but
You're not that old.
yeah, I'm getting there. So what's next on the horizon? What do you got coming up now? What's going on?
You know what? It's still just going out and truth seeking. And, I could just tell you it was 3 weeks ago. Me, uh, Jackie, Kim, and Sherry this is about 3 weeks ago in August. We were all sitting out there, and the storms that flooded Milwaukee? You've heard about that on the news, right? When Milwaukee got flooded. Well, that's where the storms were heading when we were out there. They weren't supposed to be there, but they just popped up. So we're ready to bug out like quick. Lightning started, from the distance. You hear the louder thunder coming. No wind or anything. It was weird because it means it was just kind of moving quick way up there. So no wind or anything. We're just like, all right, it's time to bug out. And so everybody starts picking up their chairs. I had to use the bathroom. I'm like, I don't want to be walking back over a mile and it get caught in this storm if it approaches and hits us. Anyway, long story longer. Just as I'm done, I walk away from the group by a tree, and then I look to my right, and about I'm gonna say 11, 12 feet, I see this stick just fall gently right on the forest floor, and it was right in between where I was and where my chair was, where we were sitting in the group. And it was weird because it didn't fall and bounce or anything. And the weird thing about this was a deadfall stick, meaning it's been dead for a while. It was broken on both halves. There's deadfall all around there, but I saw it midair and just land. And I actually have that right now. It's you're asking, what am I doing now? I'm still going out there. Now I'm thinking the living woods is giving me something, giving it to me. And again, I don't know what that purpose is yet or whatnot, but I'm enjoying that part of the ride because that was the most bizarrest thing, seeing that. And again, you're around trees. It's like finding a feather out there, right? You find a feather. Well, of course, there's birds out there. They're going to lose feathers all the time. It's just the way you find them. There was no wind, and these, 40, 50-foot standing pines that are, groomed really high, all of a sudden just drops a deadfall stick. That's the weird thing. It wasn't just up there. I don't know where it came from. It was like the rocks. I don't know where it came from, but it landed right next to me. If I would have gone 3 or 4 feet my right, it would have landed right on me. I don't think it would have, but I think that was meant to be thrown there. I don't know. So,
Right. That's funny how you mentioned the feathers. At our old habituation area, the homeowner would get raven feathers left for the places that he visited most often. He had a wood burning boiler. So he would go out, there would be a raven feather left at the doorway where he would stand. He would go out to his truck in the morning to go to work. There would be a raven feather laid on the ground at his truck door. They would leave feathers for him all over the place. It was the
Right.
coolest thing. We got pictures of it. It's just
Yeah.
amazing stuff. All right, we got a couple questions here. Gary Johnson asks, do you think Northeast Kentucky is a good location to find one?
Well, yeah, definitely Kentucky's a hot spot of any encounters that I've heard out there, and I've seen, and that's just it. You can go on YouTube, TikTok, see it, or hear it on a podcast, and you really don't know that person from Adam or Eve, right? You don't know them, so you're taking for what they're saying. You really believe that, but I have definitely. My mom used to live down near that location. You just popped up there, and there was a sighting not no more than a mile and a half from where she lived. And so, I went there to when I went down to visit her when she lived down there, and it was kind of cool to be there. And these were the reports: BFRO, Class A sighting. So they're definitely down there, and I've heard plenty of Kentucky being a very hot spot for this.
All right. Miss Diane Fowler asks, what is the most surprised you've ever been? And she goes, you might have just answered that just now.
Yeah. Well, one of them would be, the stick was pretty cool, but back in 2017, me and my friend Chris went out after it got done raining. So it was twilight, and when it's twilight and you get under the canopy of trees, it's even darker. But we went out there after it was done raining, so all you're hearing is the rain falls off the leaves, just just everywhere around you, 360 degrees. And we're up on top of one of the 400-foot kettles, and he has a billy club, and he goes, "Hey, do you mind if I do a knock?" I'm just like, yeah, go for it. I don't knock, but go ahead. And so he whaps the tree a couple times, and I'm probably 12 feet away from him on a very wide path. And so it's dark, but after he knocked, I still closed my eyes because it helped me concentrate. I don't know why it was dark already, and I'm hearing that through the rainfall all around me. So you want to know, Diane, how surprised I would have been. Something right behind me to my right, I felt like it was just these are like bipedal steps of just kind of a light kind of onto the forest floor, but they went quick. It was like one was kind of way to my right, then right behind me, and then right off to my left, and it stopped. And the surprise or the fear I had, I became a statue, a petrified tree, because it was that feeling of, have you ever, like when you were a kid, maybe even till now, when you're down in the basement, you turn off the light down there and you're going up the stairs and you feel like something's going to climb up after you, as you're going up the stairs. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it was kind of that feeling that I had that I couldn't move. And it was only because of my audio that I knew it was about a minute and 20 seconds, right around there, to where all of a sudden I was able to break free, and I had my thermal on already. So I actually walked to Chris. Chris didn't even know what was going on because he was a little farther than me. And I turned around, nothing there. I thought it was standing there the whole time. I never heard it leave. I heard it come right behind me. Never heard anything leave. And trust me, I was listening to make sure, because it was very surprised, very petrified. And this location that I'm referring to is where a lot of this other stuff is happening till this day. And I mean, it even goes deeper than Sasquatch. These are some things that are shadows, and these, you could almost refer to them as paranormal shadow people. We don't know, but whatever they are, they're out there either dancing in the middle of the path or they're zooming by us. They're letting us know they're there. Something is out there. And, I'm glad to be a part of the living woods. So my surprise.
My wife and I experienced that, and she hasn't been back in the woods since. 7 years. She hasn't been back in the forest.
Yeah. Well, some people won't be able to handle that,
Yeah. Okay. The Squatch Father himself, Alfred Santoriga, asks, what was the most favorite gift they ever gave you?
Well, that one would have been, in my opinion, if that was the gift, was definitely the stick that I have now. And I took it. I felt like once we didn't stick around when that first fell next to me. And then 3 weeks later, which would have been last week, we went back there, and it wasn't in the same position, and it was actually moved. And when I found this, it was something that I thought this was a gift. It was a gift for me, and I didn't know what for. I just knew I had it. Kim actually took it home. She cleaned it off. She sanded it. She did a lot of things that she was taught for the Native American ways to kind of give it to me this past weekend, anointed. And it's pretty cool because that's the gift. And I felt like it was from the woods. I can't say it was from, anything else but that, from the woods. But that was probably my best gift.
You got ghost dogs?
Yeah, we got live. She knows when to bark. I always say, hey, that's live. It's live okay. TV.
I'm only kidding. I don't care. It's all good. We got a couple more questions, and we're gonna let Jay get on with his night. Gary Johnson asked, do you think they move through the trees, not always on the ground?
Oh yeah, 100%. Sometimes, Well, and again, that made me sound like an expert. Yeah, I know everything. Well, definitely, I really do believe that, why not? Why aren't there just, if they're flesh and blood, why aren't there just prints galore everywhere? The best, safest way I would think to move around would be through the trees. And that's the only thing I can think of is that way there's nothing left behind. There's no trace track or anything like that. So to me, it's like kind of a common sense thing of what it is. But then again, we really don't know what they are or how they move. Sometimes I think, why is there only one print and not even near trees, just out in the middle of nowhere? You just see a couple of them going and then the prints just disappear. People think portals, the ones that I found and casted, and this will be in the third film, the one I found and casted is just kind of in the middle of the path, kind of not going with the path, a little bit outside, but it's deep and there's no other prints around either. That always makes me feel like when I see something like that maybe they're not even actually walking on the ground. Maybe it's a whole levitation that they have going on without leaving prints, because when you do see them moving, they always seem to be moving as if they're gliding, like on skis. The way they move doesn't seem as natural as we would be walking. So yeah, I've got a lot of crazy theories about it. Don't know if they're true or not, but these are just my opinions.
Right. Yeah. I had Nicole Civittoni on the show a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about residual haunts. So, everything passes away. What if the Sasquatch passed away, but this was his route that he always traveled. And every 20 years he comes by and he leaves that one print. And then he won't come back again for another 20 years. And then he'll leave that one print. I mean, these are just some of the things that I'm like asking questions about now, because this whole new world is, but
Well,
I've never even thought about that before.
yeah, you could even go one step further and just say time is not linear, and that he's not coming back. He's just always there, and that we're always just kind of crisscrossing like a bow on a present. So he's always there, and we're just kind of colliding our time. I don't know, but I agree with you. That's where I go to, to saying that we always base everything on us. We're trying to find a bipedal ape out there that's us, that we can relate to, because that's the only thing we can identify. Then when it comes to time, we think, watching Back to the Future, that's the time is linear. It's like that. And again, I don't know. I'm not a string theorist, or a researcher or anything like that on a scientific level. But it's like you said, Chris. It's exactly how we are, and that's great that we're always thinking outside the box that way. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I hope I'm not coming across that way, because sometimes I'm always like, I gotta stop myself because I sound like I know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm still a student in all this. I'm still learning.
I'm with you on that. It's all about learning. You learn something new all the time. All right, 2 more questions, everybody, and then we're gonna let Jay go. Miss Kim asked, will we see a Finding J4?
Well, I think since we already started recording the first time, and we did say, here's the beginning of Finding J4 with a champagne. Yeah, right now I always say, because my wife's always like, all right, you're done now, because she said that after the first one, because it takes so much to do, and you're finally, all right, I'm done. I don't want to make this my life, because you don't get rich off this stuff. It's not like people all over the United States knows who I am. I'm not famous. I'm not going out for fame or fortune. I'm going out for the truth. But anyway, so I got done with that one, but I had so much more to tell. So a couple of years later, I came out with part 2. That was it. I'm done. I shouldn't have called it 2, because with 2 or 3 follows, and sure enough, I completed the trilogy. And she goes, "Now are you done?" She always says it with a smile, though, because she knows I'm passionate about this stuff. So will there be a 4? I never say never. And it's not that I'm going out there trying to create that, but hey, if something really spectacular is happening over the next couple of years, you bet you there could be.
All right, awesome. All right, guys, this is going to be the last question of the night right here. Kenny Hesse asked, do you ever feel you're guided or drawn to a certain area while researching?
Yes, Kenny, all the time. there are times that, I mean, right now where we kind of put our, what I call our circle, when we set up camping, is our chairs and everything, is you do feel like that is the spot. But of course, we just don't sit there. We'll stray away from, like kittens out of a box, we'll stray away a little bit from our camp that way. And there are a lot of times that I do feel this is the area where I need to be looking or listening. And that's probably pretty much it, because I get pulled into those areas not to see Harry and the Hendersons, but to understand, why am I pulled there? You look down, all of a sudden you find that feather. Why? All right, why am I finding this feather? And so one question just leads to another. But yes, long answer, I feel drawn all the time to different areas.
Awesome. Well, I want to say thank you so much for coming on tonight. Everybody enjoyed it. Everybody in the chat enjoyed it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Kenny says he gets, whoops, this chat is rolling right now. My goodness. Kenny says I get those feelings too.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's what I mean. I think we're all on the same page when it comes to it. But you, Kenny, or you, Chris, me, or Kim, Sherry, whoever's out with me, yeah, you're gonna find that truth becoming the observer and the experiencer, because you have to put that together, not me for you, right? How many times, Chris, have you been out with somebody else hears something or sees something? I don't, the other person doesn't, but Kim does, let's say. That is her truth to figure out, just like anybody out there.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And we'll let you go on that note. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just hang out backstage for a little bit, Jay, and I'll say goodnight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jay Bachochin. All right. What a great show. What a great guy. He always is a great interview. He's always a good friend, and I always look forward to talking to him. Hopefully we'll get him back again before we have to get number 4 out this time. Congratulations to Mr. Pickles for winning the copy of the DVD, and we will get that right out to you, I promise. And Francesca, your book will be out to you very soon too. I just haven't made it down to the old post office quite yet, but it's still here and it's still safe. Next week we're going Dogman next week. We got Daryl Denton coming to the show. So we're going back to the Dogman thing. We're trying to learn about everything here. And speaking of, just remember Linda Godfrey. She was such a great lady and very knowledgeable. And if you don't know who she is, you should, and go back and research her, because she's one of a kind. And speaking of the Dogman, so that's all I got. Oh, we're going to Alabama. I'm leaving to Alabama next week. I'll be going to Mark Green's house. I'm going to the Man Cave. I am going to Flat Rock's house. I believe we're going to Kumbo's house. So we are making an Alabama trip that's like none other. I am heading out with BF Bud, and Blue Eyed Northern's going to be down there, and Mr. Joe's going to be there, and we are going to have a week. So look for a live from Creepy Mountain Tuesday night. I think we're going live from there. Adam Colt is also joining us. He's one with us on the expeditions up to Canada at Snow Grove Lake. So look for that. Keep your eyes open, because we're going to go live, and Mark's going to go live too on his channel one night too. So I'm looking very forward to meeting all these folks. I've been talking to them for years and haven't met them yet, and I am looking very forward to this trip. So keep your eyes open for that. And you know what comes next? As my friend Larry says, get in the woods, people.